execute another thing below throws and
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the ppc64el port on Debian. This is a part that we have been working. I'm going to share this presentation with Aurelian.
Can you move the mic closer or turn it on or something? Whoa. Yeah, however.
Hello?
That seems better.
Better? Okay. So I'm going to Hello? Hello?
Just speak up.
Okay. So I'm going to share this presentation with Aurelian, who is officially doing the Bootstrap on the kernel, on the Debian itself. So this is going to be real quick. I'll cover a little bit about the platform, a little bit about history, what is the current status port of the port, and what is still missing on Debian. So this is a work that we started like one year ago. Inside IBM, and we didn't have any Debian developers taking part of this, and the team that started creating this didn't have a lot of skills, so it was hard at the beginning. It was like 1 year ago, and I'd like to share how we started in a part of the history part. So the good thing here is that we have this platform enabled on Ubuntu since 14.04, so we have a lot of help from Canonical folks. A lot of patches were created by the Canonical developers and already accepted on BTS. And 2 weeks ago, we have Aurelian and Andreas that start doing the official Bootstrap on Debian. Since we are not Debian developers, we didn't have any Debian developers. Aurelian kindly accept this and start doing the Bootstrap officially on Debian, and we are going to share the status later. So a little bit about the platform. So the power processors are being B engines since a while, and we have been using the Big Endian version from a long time ago. The old ABI, it was Big Endian, and we decided to rework on a version 2 of the ABI that is going to be Little Endian, with a lot of other changes that I'm going to talk a bit later. But we found that there are some GPUs and some data that would work better with Little Endian, so this is a strong motivation to go Little Endian. And about the platform itself, IBM created with some partners what we call the OpenPower Foundation. That we have Google, we have Mellanox, and many others members. At the moment, we have around 50 members that are able to license the IP for the Power Platform, so they can construct their all motherboards and machines. So, for example, this is a motherboard from Google. It's a 2-socket. And this is a motherboard from Tian, that is a manufacturing company in Taiwan or China, I don't remember right now. This is a 1-socket. Those are Power 8 machines, and this is a machine manufactured by IBM. So it means that the power processor are becoming open source, and many manufacturers can start to creating machines with the power processor. So this is one of the big strategy for the OpenPower Foundation. This platform that we are enabling on Debian is basically to be Power 8 only. At the moment we have some Power 7 there are some hacks in the firmware that is enabled to run on this mode, but officially it's going to be Power 8 only. And we have some method of working on these machines, so it is going to support KVM, so you can run Debian on a PowerKVM guest. PowerKVM is the name that we gave for KVM running on Power. You can also run Debian on bare metal, and you can also run over PowerVM, that is a specific virtual hypervisor from IBM. So you can run Debian basically on those 3 kind of modes. And we have a stable and released ABI. So part of the history, we changed the ABI twice. So we did the Bootstrap twice, 3 times since the beginning. And finally, we have a stable and released ABI that I'm going to talk a little bit now. So we had the old ABI for 25 years, and we didn't change it. And it was created initially based on some assumptions that are not true anymore. And then we decided to create the ABI v2 that supports a new paradigm of programming, as for example, multi-chip, and many other things, as for example, the stack frame is much smaller and all those things. And it's going to be 64 bits only, and it's based on an ISA that is called 2.07 that are Power 8 only. You can find the document, the ABI and the ISA on the OpenPower website, or you can just go to the Debian ppc64el wiki page and you are going to find a good presentation that summarizes the ABI, and also you can find the full documentation that is on the OpenPower website. And one important thing here is that every time someone asks if we can run the old PowerPC 32 bits binaries on this platform, and this is not allowed. So this is basically we cannot run multi-arch or multi-lib on this platform. I'd like to talk a little bit about machines available, and we have a lot of them. So the first one is a Power 7 machine with the racket code that enables to run Little Endian on this machine. This is a machine in Brazil, so we have a BuildD machine there running compilation for ppc64el, and also another BuildD running compilation for PowerPC 32 bits. So this is a machine that we kind of gave for DSA. On another machine we have a VM that is called Pastel, that is the Porter box. So anyone can log in this machine and do development and tests. We have the capital approved, and we are buying a new Power 8 machine that is going to be donated to DSA as well. This machine is going to be in Brazil, which means that we are going to have 2 full machines for Debian, one Power 7 Plus, one Power 8, and also some VMs. We are working with a partner in France to have another Power 8 VM to do BuildD, to run as a BuildD. So we just started this conversation. And also I'm working to have another machine here on OSUSL that is going to be donated to SPI in order to have to be able to build ppc64el and also PowerPC. So one of the plans that we started working is to have the same machines with BuildD for PowerPC and ppc64el, so we can share these machines, this machine with those 2 Porter box and BuildDs. And also we have an initiative in Brazil that we are calling Mini Cloud, that we have some machines there that you can have a VM for you. At the moment we have Debian, Ubuntu, and Fedora. So you just request a VM and they are going to create you a VM that is going to be only for you. So you are going to have access to this VM, so you can do any tests you want on Debian, Ubuntu, and Fedora. So those are our plan for hardware. I'd like to talk a little bit about the history as we started. So in the beginning we started doing some cross-compilation, created rootfs, and then created a BuildD to build everything. In the beginning we have a snapshot for one day. So when we created a script that is able to create a rootfs based on cross-compilation and some native compilation. Once we have that, we were able to export everything that we have to this university in Brazil, so it becomes public, so you can download the source code, or basically the debdiff and the package, and then we started sending all the patches to the BTS. So we send more than probably 300 or 400 packets to BTS. Canonical send a lot as well. So at the moment, I think we have more than 800 patches sent to the BTS. So we had this architecture in the beginning, so we created a repository with internal patches. We plugged a BuildID, and then we started building the full archive from Debian without any modification. But depending on some packets that we have internally. So we were able to break a lot of dependencies, which is something different that Aurelian is doing officially now. He's going to comment a little bit better about it. And the status on our internal build is that we have more than 9,500 packets built from source, I mean without any internal patch. But depending on packets that has internal patches. Also, we still missing 650 packets that are failing to build. From those, we have more than 400 patches that we sent, and we are still waiting to be accepted on BTS. So we are still counting on maintainers to accept those patches in order to be able to increase the build coverage. And as well, we still have 700 packets that we didn't build yet because we are depending on some packets that we don't have. As for example, some GCL and Atlas and some others. At the moment, the Bootstrap you can debootstrap from the official archive, and you also can install important packages such as Git, SSH, and many others. So everyone can start using the port built officially from Debian. And this is exactly what Aurelian is going to talk, how he did this officially on Debian, and he just started like two weeks ago, and he's doing a great job. So thank you, Aurelian. Okay.
Does it work? No? No, maybe. It's for a few slides. Oops, it's a bit short. Do you listen to me? It's fine? Okay. So, how we started to have ppc64el in Debian. So, I got a few emails from Breno to add the ppc64el in Debian ports because I'm administrating Debian ports. Unfortunately, we were not able to add this architecture because we're having limited resources on the machine. It's something that's going to change but takes a bit of time. And a bit later, when the ARM64 ports have been added, we started to discuss, have been added to the Debian archive, we started to discuss a bit on IRC about the next port, mostly pp64el and mip64el. And then things got very, very fast. Suddenly I got an IRC query from Peter Parfader told me, oh, if you want, I can give you access to a pp64el VM. That was from the machine in Brazil. And I got access to it, and it was the 16th of August. The 17th of August, we started to rebuild already a minimal set of packages to be able to upload them to the Debian archive. And unfortunately, we found a bug in binutils that caused the glibc test suite to fail. I've been able to bisect the bug, and upstream reacted very fast. And the day after, the bug was fixed. And the 18th of August, 2 days after, we got pp64el added to the Debian archive, to the WANA build, and we uploaded the set of packages. We got a surprise trying to run the build daemons because it was running unstable, and the S-build we are using is not compatible with the S-root version from unstable, so we had to build a Wheezy version onto a stable, doing some forward porting. Hopefully it went quite fine, and 2 days after, this initial discussion, the build didn't start it. So sometimes we say things are going slow in Debian. That's true. There are things going very slowly, but there are also things going very fast. That's
2 days. Come on, you could have done it in one.
okay. So how we did the official Bootstrap process. So we imported a minimal set of around 80 packages. They are signed with a special GPT key. So we reuse the sources from Debian but build them against the IBM archive. Then we upload this minimal set of packages, started the build elements. You can build a lot of packages that way, around 1,000, but then you arrive to some build dependency loops and you have to break them. So when it was, they were easy to break, like they are involving 4, 5, 6 packages. We did that using only the Debian archive. So basically it's building a package without one feature, and then building a second one, and at the end we're building everything. And then we upload the one that is the best to break the loop in the archive and let the build elements do the remaining. And when it was not possible, sometimes there are build dependency loop including 100 of packages, so you have to break them. So there are things, for example, like Poplar, which needs basically everything in the archive. So this kind of package have been uploaded directly, and so far in total we have uploaded 110 packages from the IBM archive. Sometimes we have been blocked by packages failing to build, with often patches in the BTS, so we were pinging maintainers, doing NMUs to be able to break these loops. We don't really care when it's a package that is a leaf package, so we can wait later for doing the NMU, but when it's blocking thousands of packages, we were maybe a bit aggressive. And at the end, when the Bootstrap will be finished, a lot of the 110 packages will be rebuilt because new version will have been uploaded, and if not, we're going to be NMU them, so we don't have any packages imported from the initial set anymore in the archive. So if we look at the status today, that's the status from this morning, so 2 weeks after. We are around 64% of 64% package built in the archive. That's 7,000 packages. We reached that this morning, and I have to say the hardware is building very fast. We are using a machine with 8 cores, a VM with 8 cores, 32 GB of RAM, and so we are able to build a TMPFS. And for small packages, you are mostly limited by the SSH access to one build and downloading the packages from the archive, more than building the package itself.
You picked the wrong graph. If you go for the over time, you just have a vertical line.
Yeah, but I don't want to. That's true, and there is something so far. We have to confirm that. But if you look at the keep up graph, I don't have it there. ppc64el is at the top over AMD64, so it's going very well. It's building package very fast. Oops. So yes, what I was saying there is that we have one auto builder. If your package failed to build and you have, or if you want to test a patch we have sent you, or if there is no patch yet, there is a porter box available. Before it was having shoot from the IBM archive, but now the shoot are using the Debian archive, so it's really the same on the build elements. And right now we have 440 packages failing to build, maybe a bit more this morning. But most of them have patches, and you can see there are more patches than package failing to build, so we expect more package to fail to build in the next days. And some of the time there are also non-pp64el bugs, so that's also a good opportunity to fix RC bug for the release. And most of the problems are due to the autoconf and lib tool, which is a bit too old for this new ABI, which is quite recent. And for DI support, we got only a few packages left. I'm able to build already DI. It doesn't fully run because we are missing. There is grub missing. There is another things missing, but it's almost done, I will say there. So very soon we will have to be able to get DI installed. working.
So mostly because Dimitri is looking puzzled at me. In the way we did Grub and Ubuntu was using a cross-compiler because you need to build the actual bootloader image for PowerPC32 Big Endian, and that cross-compiler is not in Debian right now. So our choices are either get the cross-compiler into Debian or PFS Marigo is working on a patch stack to be able to build with -M32, -M Big Endian and some very dodgy things to avoid libgcc. So that's in progress.
Okay, thanks for the update. So basically we'll see.
Does that mean we actually want a 32-bit PowerPC compiler still?
Yes, it would be nice, but
Just
it's only required for
For this one thing? Right, yeah, okay.
If it is really a small one, there is a dirty option to build a cross-compiler in the grub package at the beginning before. That works.
I get you.
No, that takes around on a fast machine. It takes 4 minutes to build, but it's dirty. I agree. It's better than not building the package. Yeah.
You only need stage 1 compiler, right?
Okay, so I guess we have to wait a few weeks more, but it looks quite promising already, and I hope if we can fix the patch fast enough, I guess we can get everything built in a few weeks. Okay, you want to take back.
So that's basically it, what we want to share. So feel free to log into our machines, get a VM on our infrastructure. There are a lot of things happening on this world. We are working with some bound sources, so there are things that are still missing. For example, on GCC, GDB, there are a lot of bound sources on the web that IBM is sponsoring. So that's it. Any question?
I noticed you mentioned the hosted machine in Brazil. I think it was the DSA one that you mentioned is building for ppc64el and PowerPC. Of course, the hardware can support ppc64 Big Endian guests as well. Is that of interest on the Debian side, on the IBM side, to enable that as well?
The ppc64 Big Endian?
Yeah, ppc64 Big Endian, and it is on Debian ports at the moment.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have the initiative to work on that, mainly because we have a new ABI, and our plan is to move everything to this new ABI.
Some comment about this port. Actually, it's on Debian port for a few years. It's very well maintained. Most of the packages are built there. It's run by the non-DD there. I think now that there is a pp64el, doesn't make so much sense to have pp64. So in Debian, because the time it might take to get it in a stable release means that the hardware will probably be out of date at this time. We don't know,
But if someone wants to create a BuildD on that machine, it's going to support. I don't see any problem.
Do you plan to release the port for Jesse? And asking because currently Debian requires that hardware is available, but as far as I know, there are no Power 8 hardware available yet.
Yes, there is.
Is there? Already?
Yes.
Like June.
Where do I get it? No, I think we are all using Power 7 hardware for the build list.
So there's both Power 7 and Power. Okay, sure. There's both Power 7 and Power 8. We've been obviously using Power 7 through the past year since when May of 2013 to build stuff. We don't see the necessity. We don't think it's not like the Power 7 is evil. We're not going to rip and replace it if we don't need to. But the emphasis, the actual supported things, is on Power 8. So Power 7 is development only, which is what we are, so that's fine, right? So you can be run on Power 7. We'd rather have run on Power 8 going forward, but Power 7's be for a while still.
I'm guessing that at some point there'll be some pressure to retune libc and kernels and that sort of thing, so that we only support Power 8 and tune for that architecture. Is that something that you see imminently happening, so that at some point we might have
Yeah,
to
so-
sunset the Power 7 hardware on the grounds that we won't be able to build anything on it anymore?
So if we get back to the machines that we are going to donate, so it's arriving a Power 8 machine in Brazil. It was expected to arrive in August, this one. It's still delayed, but I expect to have this one before the freeze, sorry. And also we have a VM in France that they have the machine. They are going to create a build D machine there. We just started talking to DSA. So at least those two machines are Power 8 and are going to be running before the freeze. So this is our plan.
So we'll probably have to support Power 7 for a little while, but obviously tuning to Power 8 so that, things still run on Power 7, but it's optimal on Power 8 is clearly what we want immediately, and I would expect at some point, as you say, we'll get to a point where we say, Power 7's pretty old, and so maybe we don't need to support it anymore. I don't have any real good clue as to when that would be, though.
So what are the default optimizations for support? Debian, yes.
Or 7 as well.
Are you using -03 by default?
No.
Can you?
That's come from depackaged flags, so it's something to be tuned for architecture.
The answer is yes, we can, but would it be a good idea? I don't know.
So
That's interesting.
So the long term, obviously, we want to get there. I don't know. I have no idea how hard it would be.
The Ubuntu ppc64el port is -03.
Cool. Turns out we know exactly how hard it is. How hard is it?
really hard. Yeah, the usual thing that catches people out is that the optimizer gets better at spotting warnings, and then you have wearer. Thanks, guys.
Just to tell another things, QEMU is supporting pp64 and is also in Little Endian, so it's very slow, of course, but it's quite interesting to test DI, for example.
Okay, anything else?
Hi, at the beginning of your presentation you mentioned a couple of vendors of motherboards. What about CPUs? Are there any vendors besides IBM making ppc64el compatible CPUs?
Do you know, Paul?
Not this early, but we definitely have partners that are looking in that direction. And we also have people that are looking to get some of their stuff on the silicon, so.
So, kind of a meta question, as we've all been porting at the same time. I observe that there's quite a lot of scriptage and stuff that people use, but I'm not sure we put it anywhere. There isn't a porter's handy package of useful stuff, and we probably have a selection of useful stuff between us, and we should probably put it somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that somewhere is. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion. So I did just upload Botch, like day before yesterday, which is a load of analysis scripts, so we could just put more in there. That might be the best place to collect things.
Are we bootstrapping anything else anytime soon?
We appear to be amazingly consistent about this. If you draw a graph, we really do 2 ports a year, or one and a bit a year since we started. You'd think we'd run out of new architectures, but apparently not.
Is that just because it's the same people doing it each time and they get bored after 6 months and move on to a new one?
Like the shiny.
And slow sometimes. Old habits die hard.
As the port seemed to went quite smoothly, how many people did you actually have, in this initial phase at IBM working on it?
Yeah.
More or less?
Yeah, almost five people.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay, so about 10 people together.
yeah.
Obvious silly question. I asked a similar one of the MIPS guys. Obviously, this is all using open firmware and stuff and DTBs, so this should be, nice portable. We're not going to need multiple kernels for different machines.
Yeah, I don't expect to have this kind of problem, mainly because we have our firmware. They became open source, so it's on GitHub. So I don't expect to have this kind of problem.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thoughts?
It's already the case for PowerPC architecture. We already only have 2 kernels, 132 and 164 bits, but we don't have so many kernels as other architecture.
Yep. That's it. Thank you all.